Organic distribution is virtually gone
Mm.
on social media now. So every brand knows that if they're going to do an influencer marketing campaign, they have to supplement it with paid media.
Welcome, Justin.
Well, thanks for having me, Crystal.
Yeah, I say welcome like I live here. Like this is not my podcast studio. This is the new Kit, right? Like it was ConvertKit. Now it's
Mhm.
Kit's brand new podcast studio. And
It's dope.
It's so like I didn't come in this one yesterday. So yesterday was like official unveiling all the things. This is the one that I didn't come to, but I think it was meant to be.
I think
like we were
so.
supposed to share this space together.
I think so.
So-
Totally. Yeah.
Tell me what's been going on. Like what has been okay.
Oh, man.
When we're recording this is about halfway through 2024. What's like the most shocking thing that's happening this year or the most fun thing, whatever comes to mind?
Okay. The most shocking thing. I think probably the most shocking thing is that somehow, for some reason, I decided I'm launching a conference.
Oh, I love that. Heard it here first, people. Like, have you announced this?
It's softly. I've
Yeah.
softly
You're
announced it.
testing the waters.
I'm testing the waters. A little bit of beta testing right now. Yeah, it's called the Sponsorship Strategies Summit.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. And honestly, okay, here's the real reason is that I go to a lot of events. Like, I've gone to a lot of kind of creator focused events for many years, and there's always like a few talks about sponsorships
Right.
on like the revenue track or whatever, something like this. And I always go to every single one of those because like to me, like that's what makes this whole work.
Yeah.
You keep the lights on, like, we like from a strategy perspective, like almost all of the panels and sessions are always about revenue or like growth, like audience growth and strategies and all this stuff too. And I get it, it's fine. But like sponsorships in particular are like the number one revenue stream for a bunch of creators and businesses and entrepreneurs. And I was like, why is there no conference just about this? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
I just have to be that guy. And I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to lose money, but that's my main priority is not losing money.
Yes.
But I'm just going to do it.
Well, I feel like you have such a unique perspective because you have this incredible relationship with your audience who are all creators, but you have you know all of the sponsors, like all of these people. So what a beautiful way to say, hey, y'all that are playing in this playground, like, and you over here, like, why don't we just bring it all together and all get in the sandbox, get our hands dirty and figure out what these relationships can look like in a better way, a different way, a newer way. Like, and I love this. I think it's so fun.
I appreciate that. I mean, so there's some pretty unique things that I think we're going to do about this event. It's going to be kind of like an anti-conference, I think. It's in
love it.
So I want it to be outcome focused.
Okay.
So for example, imagine if you go to this event and every attendee leaves with a fully vetted pitch, ready to hit send to their dream brand. For example, you leave with your media kit completely done, where we have workstations where you sit with me or someone on my team and we help you kind of go through your positioning when you're going out and reaching out to sponsors. We're going to have a Shark Tank style pitch event with brands who will be the judges, and the winner will actually get a sponsorship from that brand.
I love this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, like, it's gonna be so dope. And so we're thinking, 100, 150 attendees for the first one, probably. And I really want to find a space that's kind of like an old distillery or like something where it's like kind of a cool vibe and get it catered. And like, I don't know. I think it would just be so fun. It's the event that I've always wanted to like go to,
Yeah. Well, I know that earlier this year, you went to Podcast Movement Evolutions. I didn't get a chance to go this year, and I haven't been to a bigger podcast conference since 2021 when I went to the one in Nashville, and that was like 3,000 people, I think, registered. I don't know how many officially attended in person, but y'all, it's a lot. It's a lot of people, and it was so much. And I mean, you can imagine, Justin, what do you think a bunch of podcasters want to do at a podcast conference? Y'all, I was so hoarse. I was so hoarse after talking to everyone, because everyone you walk up to, we love to talk. Everyone was talking about wanting to talk and all these things. So coming here to Craft and Commerce, which is where we are, when we're recording this, it's such an intimate feel to it. And I've talked to sponsors, I've talked to people that this is their first time coming here, and they're like, oh, this conference is different. It's so different than going to one where they're like, hi, nice to meet you. Let's talk about the weather. Also, here's my sales pitch. Like that's how it's just so quick to do that. And I know that you will have something where people feel free to ask the questions and maybe they feel stupid asking their friends that may have more success than them. And it really wasn't until I found you. I mean, in my sandbox, my group of friends, nobody's even thought about sponsorships because they have it in their head. I'm not a big enough creator. I don't have the millions of followers. I don't have, X, Y, and Z conversions, whatever the metrics that they're holding themselves to. And it wasn't until I heard you last year at Craft and Commerce, like to bring this full circle, that I feel like you gave me the confidence to go after these things that do still feel big and scary. But now I'm like, oh no, I got this. Like Justin's given me like, here's the layout of Crystal, do this, don't do this. Like, and your energy, like, okay, this is the pitch. I was probably going to wait till later. I took Justin's program, Brand Deal Wizard. So if you're like, how do I learn to have, a wizard in my back pocket? Here, Justin is here. But it was in hearing you speak from stage, talking about this is doable. This is doable. And having someone who you have the heart to help creators of all shapes and sizes. Like I finally heard that message for the first time that I hadn't heard from other ones. So I just want to say thank you. Like this is my chance to just be a brag fest on you. But yeah.
That's so kind of you. And I'm so happy to hear that you made that kind of evolution in your own journey, in your own brain about your worth and your value. Because to be honest, Crystal, when I started doing this, I very much did not anticipate that would be such a block for a lot of people, because I very much I'm an engineer by my background. And so I come at it with like, here's the framework and here's the checklist and here's the strategies and all that stuff too. And I thought that would be enough, when I was talking to people. But, when I started getting feedback of people being like, I can't hit send on this email. I can't. What if they don't respond? Or what if they say no? Or what if they say yes and they ask for a meeting, right? Whoa, that's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
And so it's been humbling for me to really empathize, I think, with all different types of people, regardless of where you're at in your journey. Because let's be real, one thing I think also we've learned here, as we've heard from some amazing speakers and a lot of people who are way beyond me in my journey too, is that like everyone's going through it. Everyone has doubts about like their own abilities and whether they belong in this room and whether they're even worthy of giving advice and like all this stuff too. So it's like it was comforting in that way, because I think it's just like we're all going through it,
Yeah. And I mean, I'll tie it back to like present day. There was a talk where the main takeaway was to make the ask. Like make the ask, like whatever that looks like in your business or whatever that looks like in your journey. And it brought me back to you actually, of thinking of, man, I didn't really have the confidence to make the ask of like, hey, I know that you know this person really well. Like, could you give me an introduction? Or I know that someone that's related to this industry. Like, could you give me some insights on what are the main things that people are trying to accomplish here so I can understand that audience so that I can speak to them? And so I think that, what you've just done so well in your whole journey is you make it comfortable for people to make that ask and say, can you just help me? And I see it in, I follow your YouTube. I'm always like hanging out with Justin in the comments. Like he's hopping, your live streams are incredible, by the way. So I think like hopping in the comments and being like, yes, like just stop what you're doing. Stop your Googling and all the things. Like just go listen to what Justin has to say, because you just have a heart to serve. And I really feel that. And actually, let's talk about, because I know you have a commitment to how many creators that you want to help with deals. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a mission to help creators big and small land 1 million sponsorships by 2032. So clock is ticking. I mean, we have 8 years from now. And I think interestingly, when I started this, I very much was thinking like, oh, influencers. That's going to be my like the people I serve, right? YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, this type of thing, because that's where I came from. My wife started her first YouTube channel in 2009, and the most surprising thing when I started talking about sponsorship stuff is I started getting all these people who came out of the woodwork, like people who have conferences, people who have courses, people who have newsletters or communities, or all of the athletes, Crystal. Athletes, like people, like I've had race car drivers all sorts of
Wow.
really interesting people reach out to say like, hey, I'm not like an influencer dancing on TikTok, but I monetize my business through sponsorships.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like stiff arming people like, no, stay away. You're not my ideal customer persona.
Yes.
No, I can't help you. And one day I was working with my copywriter Purna. We were working like on a sales page for one of my courses, and we were on the Zoom, and she was just like, "Why are you doing that, Justin? Why are you excluding people like that?" And she said one thing which changed it for me, which was, "You are depriving people of a tremendous change and transformation in their life and their business by refusing to serve them."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just like felt that deep in my core. And I decided to pivot the business. I decided to, or rather pivot, make it more inclusive, I guess, is like decide, you know what, I can help these people. I can serve these people. And so that was really, I think, when that was an inflection point in the business for sure, when I was not so prescriptive about saying like, oh, this is only for these type of people.
Yeah.
And haven't looked back.
Oh my gosh. And you were talking about, and, being part of the Brand Deal Wizard community, I have seen all the different people that kind of come through the doors and share their stories. Y'all, there was someone, and I'm going to forget your name, so I do apologize right now, but he is a helicopter pilot for the Deadliest Catch.
David.
Like, that's what and I'm like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? So when Justin's like, yeah, I serve like a wide breadth of all these different types of people, like, I love the uniqueness of the people that I find, because I feel like it's the universal struggle of people saying, yeah, but they want to do this, but I don't have the experience. I don't have the connections. I don't have, the millions of followers or the downloads or the views or whatever. So if someone's listening to this, watching right now, and they're finding themselves saying, I'm just not enough to do this, like, what advice would you give to them?
If you have influence over any body of people, regardless of what the format is, whether it's a book, whether you're an author, maybe you have influence over your small community in your local area where you live. Maybe you do have social media. Regardless of what that is, if people trust you and they come to you for advice, or when you say something, people listen, that is valuable. That would be valuable to the right type of brand partner. And what I like to say is that a lot of people get very fixated on trying to work with the large national brands, the conglomerates. Oh, I want to work with Target or, Starbucks or Nike or whatever. And there's such a tremendous opportunity to serve brands and companies in your local community who need help with, marketing challenges, getting more foot traffic into their brick and mortar location for their 5 coffee shops around your county or something like that. It's a different challenge, of course,
right?
Where, your pitch isn't going to be, hey, come to them and be like, let me talk about you on my TikTok to my 500 followers. That's not going to move the needle for them. However, if you say, hey, like, I think there's a better way to, a more compelling way to tell your brand story here in the following ways. I did kind of an audit of what your current strategy is. I could actually help create some content for you, for your website, for your social media, maybe for your local Facebook ad strategy. And hey, by the way, go look at my podcast or go look at my Instagram, because it's my portfolio. And so I love giving people this liberating idea, because maybe one time a brand or a company said to you, like, you have to have 10,000 followers or 10,000 listens on average on your podcast or whatever. And you thought, I guess that's what every brand thinks. And that limits a lot of people. And so I hope that this unlocked something for anyone watching or listening, that like, no one can tell you anything. You have to go out there and find the fortitude, find the confidence to know that there's some people out there who you might be able to serve.
Yeah. And what I found shocking through this whole process is when someone comes to me, it's a brand, and they have a concrete idea from previous creators that they've worked with. And they're like, okay, what's it going to cost me? Like, and they don't see it. They see it's so transactional, and it's not a partnership the way that you teach people, because that's the thing, y'all. If there's people that are willing to invest one time in a creator and you blow their socks off and you rock their world, they may work with you again. Like,
Mm.
that's the beautiful thing. Instead of like, how many, can I get like 100 different sponsors and all this? Like, what if you got 5 quality sponsors that all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is how much I was making in my full-time job now. So, I mean, I just think about like that part in and of itself and not trying to chase the numbers of like reaching out to 50 different companies and crossing my fingers and toes and hoping that someone says yes. It's like, wait, why don't we take a pause, do some research, and actually see what their goals are, align them with your own, and then really go deep with someone. And I just think that it's so different than anything else I had heard previously.
I have a bit more context on this because I ran an influencer marketing agency for about 7 years. That what we often found when we were trying to recruit creators for a brand that had hired us to run a campaign for them, we often found ourselves gravitating not to the creators who had millions of followers or
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of followers. It was often the people who had a more modest audience size. But because we had such an amazing experience working with them last time, they were super professional. They were super communicative. They hit every deadline. When we received the assets, we had virtually no edits. And even if we did have an edit, they were super accommodating. Oh, yeah, I'll do a new voiceover. No big deal. Um, it was actually those creators that we gravitated to putting in every recommendation that we had to our clients because we were like, we know we've done work with this person before. They're amazing. You should definitely pick them. We can put our fingers on the scale to some degree like that. And I think it's a really important thing to remember that it's not just about your reach. I mean, you mentioned, my wife and I have been on the internet for 15 years. And if you looked at our like influence, quote unquote, now compared to, the heyday of like our YouTube career or whatever, we're literally at the lowest influence we've ever been. And yet we continue to get
Yes.
regular, lucrative partnership opportunities because of these relationships that we built, because they know the product that they're
Mhm.
purchasing when they hire us. And it's not just about the reach. And let's face it, organic distribution is virtually gone
Mm.
on social media now. So every brand knows that if they're going to do an influencer marketing campaign, they have to supplement it with paid media.
Yep.
So they know that, okay, we got to pay the influencer this much. And then in addition to the $500K that we're spending on the 20 influencers we're hiring, there's an additional $500K that we're going to be boosting all of the content with.
Yeah.
And so they get it. They know that this is the game on social media. So yes, of course, like having a baseline level of, reach, and following and stuff helps. But if you can illustrate to them that, hey, this asset that I can create for you is going to be very compelling, especially if you boost it with paid media, they may just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, every time that we chat, I feel like you just blow my mind again. But we cannot finish this conversation without telling us we need an update on you're doing something new, you're doing something novel, and you're writing a book.
I'm writing a book, Crystal. I'm writing a book.
And I want to hear
Yes.
all the deets.
Okay. It's called Sponsor Magnet: How to Attract, Price, and Execute Your Dream Sponsorships so you don't leave thousands on the table. Pretty good hook, right?
Yes, of course.
And I'm very excited. I'm almost done with the manuscript.
Okay.
I think I'll be done in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Although interestingly, this is like inside baseball. Can I tell you something
Yes.
interesting? So one thing I found, if you watch any of my content or anything, I'm like very unserious. If you follow me on Twitter, I like post memes. I'm kind of I'm unserious, right? And what I found is that through the process of writing, I felt as though my personality kind of got leached from the pages.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading back and I was just like, this doesn't sound like me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of textbooky.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am in the moment right now, and I think I've found someone. I'm hiring a comedy writer, an editor who has a comedy background,
Okay.
to do the first pass on the edit. I have another editor who I'm going to work with the self-publisher that I'm working with. But I don't know what's going to happen, but just this feels like a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I want it to feel fun. I want the
Yes.
experience of reading this book to be, because I know what's going to happen. I know that one thing that's happened here when I've been at the conference is that I'm really good at, like, when someone comes to me and is like, I want to make more money on sponsorships, I can help you. Like, it's no brainer. Here's all the million resources. But what is actually getting me more excited lately is the people who say sponsorships are not for me.
Mm.
So like I have courses, I have coaching, I have digital products. Like, why would I like give airtime or ad inventory to a brand? Like that I could make more money selling my own stuff. And I can have a 5-minute conversation with someone and they say, maybe I've been thinking about this wrong.
Yes.
And I'm going to give this another thought. And that just fires me up. Oh man, that fires me up. And so that's what I want to have happen with the book, because I know that there's going to be people who pick it up who are skeptical, who are like, sponsorships, I don't know. And my goal is by the end, they finish that final page and they're like, you know what, maybe this is for me. That's the goal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Is there like, I mean, we can't pre-order yet.
You can pre-order.
You can pre-order.
Yeah.
Like
you can pre-order at sponsormagnet.com.
Okay,
Let's go.
I was like, I didn't know if he was prepared with the link or not. So I didn't want to put him on the spot and be like, Crystal, I don't have that yet.
I have it.
You're overly prepared always.
50 pre-orders already. We're going. We made some pre-orders. And I've got some really fun stuff planned for the launch.
Yay.
If you know me, I'm going to be I'll just tell you, this is just a hidden secret. I'm going to shoot a music video for the launch of the book.
Like, that's incredible.
So that's all I'm going to share, but it's going to be pretty dope. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We need we're not in Justin's studio. If we were in Justin's studio, we would have the
we have the sound effects. Yeah. I don't have the Rodecaster right now.
Yes. Okay. Justin, this was so fun. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you. This was such a blast.
It's always fun hanging out with you.
It really is. Yeah.
Cut.
Cut.
All right.